Hi, I'm Adam Juniper, semi-professional drone nerd, and you might be wondering what you're doing watching a crazy-haired lunatic who looks like he might have stuck his fingers in the main sockets this morning review the DJI Mavic Mini, when it's not like I've got there first. But that's my point. I haven't got there first. Now, that might be because I look like this, or it might be because the Casey Neistats and the iJustines of this world have quite a few more followers than me, if I'm honest. But while I come to terms with that, or while you click the button in the corner to help me solve that, I'm going to sit in my Bond villain chair and I'm going to take advantage of the one thing I do have, this lovely green screen that I made. I'm going to use that to sort of double the efficiency of this video. You can see some footage that I shot with the new Mavic Mini while I tell you what I really think the impression I've picked up from taking it out to fly several different times in different conditions. So, without further ado, here is the already unfolded Mavic Mini. I've taken the precaution of unfolding it because, well, I'll just show you now. I have a terrible habit of folding all of the Mavic line, which are all built much the same way, the wrong way. There are some lovely stickers which you're meant to peel off once you've mastered it. I've left them on. The drone itself is about the same size as my iPhone, but obviously a good bit fatter. It has one of DJI's clip-on, clip-off covers. I'll just pop this off. It's actually probably the easiest one to use in the entire Mavic line, under which is a 3-axis motorized gimbal, which seems incredible since even higher specification drones like the Parrot and Affy only manage 2-axis motoring. And there is 1/2 sensor, the same sort of physical size as the one in the Mavic Air, which is a much more expensive aircraft. One thing you'll notice though straight away that started to bug me after a little while, once the sun eventually did come out, is that the cover doesn't allow you to screw on or screw off a ND filters or any kind of filter, and being flat the way it is, it can catch the light as you turn, so you'll see a lot more sort of artifacts that come from glare and flare with the Mavic Mini than you would with some of the other drones. The other thing which is slightly irksome about the design, these vents here and here and here and here, all they do is allow airflow inside to ventilate the system and help keep it cool. But they look like the collision sensors other DJI drones have. Feels a bit cheeky. Ventilation is important though, because the processor can get warm, and that is DJI's excuse for you providing 2.7K rather than 4K video. Less processing power is required, so processor doesn't get so hot, so no processor. Some people online have taken issue with that, although I would say that it isn't really much of a problem. The 2.7K video, even though it's only at 40 megabits a second, which is a lower bit rate than the 100 megabits you expect with the higher end Mavics, is, good, very good quality. The number of pixels is slightly more than that on the larger of the iPhone screens. So, as you can imagine, if you actually watch it on a normal 4K TV from a normal viewing distance, it's very hard to tell the difference between that and 4K video. There's a good amount of the algorithms that DJI are using are obviously very good quality, with the possible exception of backgrounds when the aircraft is turning, or maybe orbiting a foreground object. You'll see a certain judder occasionally, or at least I saw a certain judder occasionally. Obviously, the really important thing here is that it's so important, in fact, that it's written on the side in the same way that a slab of beef might be in the supermarket, 249 grams. The weight which keeps it 1 gram below the limit, at which point in the UK, the USA and China and Canada and numerous other jurisdictions require you to pay a registration fee with your aviation authority. That doesn't mean you can go and fly it wherever you want. You still can't go and take off in front of an airport. The rules still apply. The difference is that you don't need to actually go and sign up to the registration, which just makes life a little bit easier. While there aren't collision sensors, there are distance sensors for landing, so the drone can do automatic landing, take off. It has GPS, so it can return to the takeoff point, and it can hover in a single place. And obviously on board there's a barometer, pressure sensors and movement sensors, which is how the aircraft positions and flies. The remote folds out. It's a minimalist interpretation of the Mavic Lines controller. Here I've left the sticker on again. You've got USB, that's you charge through the USB and then clip in your phone. I get in my iPhone 11 into the thing, so that the larger iPhone size with a case on. These little handles, they're plastic with a rubber, you know, they're metal on some more expensive drones, but that hardly makes any difference. They feel good quality once they're screwed in. These buttons have two effects. So this left hand one with the red circle either switches it to video mode, or if you're already in video mode, starts and stops recording. The one on the other side is the shutter for the still photos are 12 megapixel, 4000, 3000. And they do look a little bit rounded towards the edges. That's fine. There's no real problem. You can deal with it in Photoshop. You can crop in a little bit. They're still impressive. You're still going to impress your mates with an aerial photo. They're very sharp. Well, you also lack, compared to higher end DJI drones, features like built-in panoramas or even auto bracketing. You can adjust the exposure value, and you can make manual adjustments to the shutter speed. What you can't do is just get it to take 5 photos for you in a ding, 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 ding row, which is a bit of a shame. If you know what you're doing and you know what you're trying to achieve, it's very easy to make those adjustments on your own. The exposure controls that are available are nice and easy to use. It's, as with many instances in this system, I find that you look at it, and if you feel that you're missing something out, that's because you're buying the wrong drone. You shouldn't be thinking so much about the 249 limit. You should be thinking to yourself, if I want big panoramas and that kind of thing, Mavic Air as a minimum. If I really want proper photography, I should be looking at the Mavic 2 Pro or Mavic 2 Zoom. The Zoom's probably better suited for video, the Pro is probably better suited for stills. This is, after all, meant to be easy to use. It's meant to be, you know, most people's first drones, and actually filling the menus with features is frustrating, which is, I think, why DJI have not gone for the usual DJI Go 4 app, but instead have gone with one called DJI Fly, which is not only a better name, but has given them the opportunity to sort of clean things out a bit. In one case, they've cleaned things out a bit too far, which is the excellent countdown timer you get for the battery along the top that works for the other drones, which is really useful at letting you know very visually how long you've got left before you need to turn around. With the Mavic Mini though, you shouldn't fly that far away. You can't fly that far away. Everywhere I tried it, 300 meters seemed to be essentially the limit. So the one other control I should mention on here is the wheel, which allows you to tilt the camera lens gimbal up and down, which is very useful and something you'll need to do a lot to deal with sunlight conditions, as well as just obviously for the drama of the shot. This feels like excellent value, given the Spark, I think, didn't include a remote unless you paid extra. Although if you are used to using a small tablet, it's not just that you won't be able to fit it in the grips, there's also not a full-size USB connector. Folding away, it fits in nicely, but you have to do it carefully. There you go, nice controller, packs away. I tend to leave these sticks on, but it's good to know that you can take them off, and of course you can buy spares online. Alrighty, so this is the big brother. You can see even folded up, there's a real size difference, but the same basic design thinking. With the Mavic Mini, pop open the back, slightly fiddly little arrangement. And here's the battery, which is clearly just 2 LiPo cells sort of bound together. You get 1 of these with the standard kit, or 3 with the Fly More. And now I can't check its power remaining at all, and this device is completely dead. I slip it in, and the button underneath provides me with the power check. At the back there's a slot for memory card. There's no onboard memory. So if you're flying and you don't have a memory card with you, what happens is a little message appears in the corner of the screen letting you know it can record over the air the quality of the video which is used as your video monitor on your phone, which is 720p, but is obviously subject to any transmission problems. So if there's some interference, frames will get dropped. There's also the USB socket, micro USB for charging. So again, micro USB feels a bit dated compared to the USB-C you see on Parrot and Nafi, but there is a cable to connect to USB-C Android phones as well as micro USB Android phones in the box. So you're not really missing out on anything, and it's perfectly easy to charge, and in many cases most people have micro USB connectors lying around. Some people have said it feels a little flimsy, but to be honest, I think it, there is a certain amount of bend there, but that isn't that much of a surprise, and I'm sure if you fly it hard into something, that will be the end of that leg or that component. But again, that's true with most aircraft. The Mavic Mini has a relatively limited feature set, but what it is able to do is 4 quick shots. The rocket, where it shoots up above you and while it's taking a photo, an orbit, helical or helix orbit which goes up at the same time, and sort of traditional selfie which backs off as it goes up. It does have the processor power to keep you a human or an obvious subject or a building in shot. It seems to do a fair job of it. It actually, when I went out and tested it, did a slightly better job than the Mavic 2 Pro around the same building. This is going to give you a lot that's very impressive for your Instagram feed, and the imaging resolution is noticeably higher than that the Instagram feed uses. That's more than good enough for sharing, and DJI have really thought about that. A feature they've already included in the earlier versions of their app is a really nice little quick edits function that takes the video as you're shooting it, prepares a little edit that you can sort of quickly upload to your social media. It has some music options, style options. This is going to liven up. This is going to get you more likes and more follows. At least until everyone's got one. In terms of camera quality, one of the things I did notice across stills and video is that there's quite a narrow range of exposure that the device is happy with. You can reach, if you've got bright lighting, the dark areas will possibly lose out. What you can do is tap on the area of the screen which you want the camera to expose for, and what you can usefully do is tap on the exposure lock icon. So as you turn left and right and the lighting changes, your video will stay at a still exposure level. It'll either look a bit darker or look a bit lighter, rather than the automatic features trying to change things all the time. You'll get very used to just turning on and turning off the exposure lock, and tapping on areas of the screen to make sure that the shot is exposed for what you want. Anyway, that is the Mavic Mini. Some people bemoan the lack of automated tracking features, that kind of thing, but do you really need it? In many ways, this has the Mavic Air. It has it beaten on one important level. The flight time, in theory, is 30 minutes, whereas the Mavic Air struggles to get 20. Although the 30 minutes here drops down in practice to 25 quite quickly in even the lightest of breezes, because obviously these motors have a bit of work to do. This feels to me to be pretty much the right package.